What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Card the Comics here. Today we got an important one. That's right, an important one. No fooling around today. PSA put out new terms and conditions. We all got this email earlier this week, and 95% of you probably deleted it or just did a quick scroll through and didn't even read anything in it. However, there are some very important things in here that you need to know before you submit another PSA order. What you are agreeing to. I highly encourage you go dig up that email and read through it. Also, I don't usually ask for this very often. Try to signal boost this video a little bit so a lot of people see it. Give it a like, and most importantly, share it. Send it to a friend, put it on a Facebook group, share it in your Discord, whatever the case might be, because there's just two major things, and then there's just some interesting talking points to have around some other stuff. So without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and dive straight into it. There is a lot of stuff in here. There's a handful of things I want to focus on. We're going to do the most important two first, right out the gate. The first one is shipping. When you're shipping your cards to PSA, they give you directions. There's a link to it right here. We're on section 5. On how to package and ship your cards. They want them in card savers. I know a lot of people don't like using card savers. I know a lot of people like sending in top loaders. I am sure there'll be exceptions for thicker cards, but for your standard issue card, if you do not use card savers, they are going to begin cracking down on this. If things are not a package to their guidelines, they now have the option to charge you one or more processing fees for non-conforming packaging. And right here, non-conforming packaging, it includes top loaders, extraneous materials. What would that be? Pull tabs or stickers. I know I see a lot of people do this, send in top loaders and put those little pull tabs when they send on the card savers. Don't do that anymore. Just a card saver, nothing else. No, and a penny sleeve. But no top loaders. Don't put those little pull tabs on there. Listen, they're the ones handling our cards. They know which way for them to be received the best, the cleanest, and the easiest for them to get out without damaging the card itself. It also sounds like I said, they will be cracking down on this, and you could get penalized for it by extra processing fees if you are not paying attention to what you're doing here. There's some other stuff around shipping as well that I encourage you to check out in regards to use of their prepaid labels, multiple orders per packaging, and things like that. But the big one I wanted to focus on shipping was making sure that you're sending the things in the way that they want you to. Follow their shipping guide. Next, this is the big one, in my opinion. This is the most important thing on here, because I think most people are going to miss this. And it is this section right here. It's section 16, payment authorization. And we are going to focus in on this capitalized section right here. Essentially what they're doing, not what they're doing, what they are doing, what they are saying, what they are going to be doing. When you submit a PSA order, you are automatically authorizing additional charges up to $500 for upcharges. What do I mean by that? If I submit a card prior to this agreement and you got upcharged for something, say I sent in at bulk and it got upcharged to regular from $20 to $60 or whatever it is, I'm making up numbers, I would get an email that would say, do you approve this upcharge? Yes or no? And you would have to approve it. They would bill you your $60, and then they would finish completing your card, and off you go. It was basically the gist of it. Under the new agreement, these are live right now. If you submitted an order to PSA, you've already agreed to this. You authorize PSA to charge the final amount due to your payment method without notice to you or further authorization by you, so long as such amount does not exceed your estimated order total at checkout by more than $500 or a lesser amount disclosed to you during order submission. All charges will be made in US dollars. They have the ability to just auto charge you for upcharges up to $500 without notifying you. Let that marinate for a minute. Up to $500, they can just ping you. It will be represented on your final paperwork. Once you get your little receipt thing in the mail that says your card's been charged, you usually get an email that runs down all the charges. It'll be on there, so you'll know that it happened, but they could just go ahead and do it up to $500. And it just happens. No more approving it. Now, I can't think of any time ever where I would not have approved an upcharge. I can think of some times where it was borderline, where I might want to question them on it and say, hey, can you show me what you're seeing to justify the upcharge? Which I'm sure you could probably still do that. But in this case, it's already going to happen. So keep this in mind. I think this is a big one. I personally don't have a problem with it now that I know that it's in there and I can kind of file that away in the back of my head. But I could guarantee you right now what is going to happen. In the next couple of months, you're going to see it either on Instagram or on Twitter or in a YouTube video, someone ranting and raving about how PSA charged them for an upcharge and never told them about it. Oh my God, I got my credit card statement. It was supposed to be $100 to grade these cards. They charged me $200. When I asked them about it, they said they could do it. You agreed to it when you fill out that paperwork and say, I agree to all the terms and conditions hereby within whatever legal mumbo jumbo you want to throw in there. File this one away. Keep this in mind. I have a feeling a lot of people did not realize that this is in there. Let's backtrack a little bit. We're going to go up to number 12. 12 is a fun one. Doctored and inauthentic items, fraud prevention and investigation, section 12. You represent and warrant any item submitted for any PSA grading service as genuine, and you have no knowledge, no reasonable basis to believe the item is a doctored item. Doctored items set forth in these terms for purposes of the terms doctor, doctored, or doctoring means alteration of the appearance of an item by such things as, but not limited to, ready for it, trimming, recoloring, bleaching, power erasing, here's where it gets good, cleaning, waxing, those are the two big ones there, rebacking or any other form of restoration used to enhance the appearance, condition, or content of an item. Cleaning and waxing. Let's continue, shall we? You agree you will not doctor items or participate in any way in doctoring items or submitting any items to PSA for grading, which you know or have reason to believe have been doctored in any way, and acknowledge that the determination as to whether an item should be authentic or graded shall be made solely by PSA in accordance with their standards. Interesting. You acknowledge detecting doctored items is very difficult. PSA will not authenticate or grade items which, in the judgment of PSA, bear evidence of doctoring. However, this is another key thing here. Because the determination by PSA to reject doctored items will require a review by PSA personnel, you will be required to remit and set forth herein the standard fee for any doctored items that are submitted to PSA. What does that mean? If you submit a card and they say, this card was cleaned, this card was doctored up, was rubbed down, it's got Kurt juice all over it. Thank you for your $25 to grade it, but we're not grading it because it's doctored. Essentially, and I've seen pushback on this, it does make sense when you think about it. You are paying PSA to evaluate the card for grading and grade it. They have done that. They are choosing not to grade it because they believe the card is doctored. So they're still going to charge you a fee because someone had to sit there and look at it and look it over and double check it and triple check it and have someone else look at it and determine that the card was juiced, basically, or one of the other things on there. But let's be honest, card cleaning is the hot button issue on this one. I like this final line. You acknowledge that doctoring is wrongful and inappropriate activity which is harmful to PSA, and all of your obligations in this section 12 shall survive termination of these PSA terms. So, no card cleaning. Now, is this lip service, or is this them cracking down, or is it just CYAing in their fine print that they have the ability to go after this? Because let's be honest, how many group submitters out there offer, and these are authorized PSA group submitters, how many authorized PSA group submitters offer a card, air quote, prep service for anywhere from $5 to $10 a card, depending on what it is? Maybe less, maybe more. What in the hell do you think is going on with the card prep service? They're not just wiping them down with a microfiber 9 times out of 10. You know for a fact those cards are getting juiced. Clearly, if PSA really wanted to take a big hard look at card cleaning, start with your group submitters, because most of them offer a cleaning service in all but name only. They also add some language down here. Once again, please read this entire document. You agree that PSA would suffer irreparable damage and that you basically could be liable if you were to engage in doctoring of any items, and that PSA is entitled to not only compensatory damages, but also preliminary and final injunctive relief for any breach of your obligation not to doctor items or submit doctor items to PSA in violation of your obligation here under. So, is my guess here, a little bit of this is this is going to get divided up in the percentages essentially. A chunk of this section is to scare people a little bit. A chunk of this section is, and probably a large chunk is, CYA. I don't still know how much they have the ability to catch this stuff. I don't see cards flying back rejected for cleaning left and right, and I think we all know that it's going on. I believe part of this is them covering themselves that if they find evidence of cleaning, whether now or in the future they develop new methods to catch this stuff, that they will crack down on it and there will be repercussions for it. So I just think they want all their bases covered in the event that they need to go to the mattresses on something like this and really throw down hard. If they have the evidence to back it up, they can, and to help protect themselves as this becomes a bigger and bigger business by the day. So I get them putting all this language in here. Like I said before, I just find it comical when your own PSA bulk submitters offer card prep services, and that's air quote okay. What happens if one of the group submitters gets busted with this stuff? Don't know. Would they ever actually crack down on a group submitter for cleaning cards? I don't know. I really don't know, because that's where a lot of their business comes from. But that's honestly the first place that they should look. All right, let's go up and look at one more section that I found kind of fun / amusing. Section 9, PSA item holders. If you break open any PSA holder for an item, you shall immediately return the PSA certification label and holder. Obviously, they have no way of enforcing this. This is them basically just saying, hey, send us those labels back so we can clean up the pop report, which is cool. I get it. There's no way you can literally enforce this, but it is nice to see them at least saying, hey guys, please send that stuff back. Because if you crack a card, and people do this all the time, you send the slip back in, they will remove that card from the population report. I've seen people do this with lower pop cards because they want to make sure that it stays a low pop card and don't want, regrades showing up on the population report. There's some other fun stuff in this little section that we'll get to. All caps. PSA shall have no liability whatsoever to you or any third party or any personal injury or damage to any item or otherwise resulting from the breaking open of a PSA holder. I'm sure that some of this language was been in other versions of the T's and C's, but that one made me chuckle a little bit there that they are covering their butts. Then this bottom paragraph here is an important one. If any item is removed inadvertently or intentionally from its PSA holder, it shall be treated by you and PSA as if it were never graded by PSA, and you acknowledge that such an item may no longer qualify for PSA grading services. So this is one of those things where they're not saying they're going to reject every single one. They're just leaving themselves an out clause to reject a resubmitted card. Once submitted, PSA shall have no obligation to assign to a graded item the same grade it previously assigned to it, and any guarantee that previously applied to the item while it was in the PSA holder shall no longer apply to it. So basically, once it's been cracked out, everything that was about that card is now null and void. And if you resubmit it, you're not guaranteed to get the same grade, and they could refuse it. Once again, I don't think they're going to be refusing crack and resubmits. Unless it's a numbered card, they would really have no way of knowing 100% for sure. So I think this is them, once again, giving themselves an out clause, which is really what these terms and conditions are designed for, let's be honest, by any company, not just PSA, to give them legal outs to get out of stuff or to pass blame or whatever you want to call it. This just gives them the document to point back to and say, you agreed to it right there in the fine print. You agreed that we could do X, Y, or Z thing. Gonna cut it off there. Like I said, read this document. There's a lot of other stuff in there, but I really wanted to focus in on making sure that you're shipping items to them the way that they want to be shipped. And just be aware, they can upcharge you up to $500 without you signing off on it, because you're pre-signing off on it when you initial off or sign off or agree to their terms and conditions every time you submit an order. You are already saying, I agree, you can upcharge me up to $500 if you so choose. Very curious for your thoughts and comments down below. I am sure this will be a fun comment section. If any of y'all read through this and there's something else that really caught your eye that you thought was interesting, throw it down there as well to make everyone else aware. Like I said, I didn't want to read through a massive document. It would be boring as heck. I wanted to touch on these couple key things. I'm sure there's some other stuff in there that's pretty juicy too. All I got. Catch you boys and girls on the next one. Peace.